Last week I have been speaking, as I do most meetings, about our bodies as our connection units to the wider biosphere, to the planet, in which we are all embedded. And these earthworm gatherings are kind of a training ground for attuning more precisely to our bodies. And in that way, exploring the information, exploring what comes into our bodies from the biosphere. And really starting to appreciate that those bodies are actually most amazing biocomputers, which have been developed by evolution since over 4.5 billion years as part of this amazing living intelligent being we call planet Earth. And through eating, drinking, breathing, going to the bathroom, sweating, crying, we are 24/7 in total reciprocity, in total relationship with the planet. And actually, we are like a cell inside a body. A cell inside the body of the earth. We are not on top of it. And at this point in history, it's fundamental for the survival of our species on this planet that we bring relational sensing, feeling, and thinking back online, because it has gotten, lost underneath many layers of education, which has been taking us more and more into the head, more and more into the thinking mind. And these capacities are still there, but they are buried. So bringing those back by remembering our indigenous ability to sense first and then think about it. And these days, we think first and sense and feel afterwards. So we can, bring that back to how it was, when proto-human species lived on this planet. They had this capacity to live in much deeper relation with the biosphere, a coexistence, or at least, a sense of cooperation. We have lost all of that, or most of us. There's still, about 5% of the world population are indigenous, and some of those different nations, they have been able to preserve a much more relational coexistence with the planet. And recently I've heard a very, deeply touching story from the San, that's the so-called Bushmen in South Africa. And, they have expressed deep sorrow after they have been learning, that white people can't hear the stars. And they were thinking, that they considered this to be a grave illness if one can't hear the stars. And they were really sad about that. So this way of, operating and using the body and the senses in a very different way than we do it at this time. And to just take that in with humility, rather than brushing it off and thinking, okay, that's all just woo-woo or just primitive way of being. And now it starts to dawn on us, maybe that's not so. And I've recently been listening to a teaching by a Cheyenne River Lakota Nation elder from South Dakota, and his name is Teokasin Ghost Horse. He's an international speaker on Mother Earth's perspective. And he has been speaking about, that we have these receptors in our bodies, but they have been turned off because of the education we have been receiving and the worldviews, the paradigm. They have been turned off, and because of that, they produce like a lot of stress in our bodies because they are kind of there, but not operating. And just, really opening up to the fact that the earth isn't against us. She simply is trying to correct us. And if we are not listening, then the communication gets louder and louder because we are in danger. And, as we all know, humans are a very recent species, especially the Homo sapiens, the species we are. Were made last, on Earth, or emerged last on Earth. And because of that, are most ignorant when it comes to, working together as a planet. So as a growing up, a maturing is needed. And right now, we are on this threshold where we are asked to grow up and take responsibility. And for that, in order to be able to take this responsibility, we need to be more intimate with the earth again in order to receive the communication, to really receive it, not just with the head, but to really adjust to it. Information, to really take it into our form. And then, change the languaging, and then based on that, change the thinking, because the thinking is deeply conditioned by by how we use language. And our language, is coming or is based on a patriarchal worldview on being on top, being separate. And that was an evolutionary stage which has been expiring now, because it cannot be sustained. That way of relating is not working. The planet can't support it, and it's telling us. So rather, than being concerned with what the earth can give to us, we need to find out how we humans can be of value to the earth community, the whole community. To just change this anthropocentric thinking, positioning ourselves in the center of everything, and then everything is understood in relationship to how it can serve me, Homo sapiens. Like a toddler, if you've had children, they seem to think that they're the only ones who have needs. And, but now we cannot stay like 8 billion toddlers on the planet. It's not working. So opening up to the earth as an elder and inviting the teaching. Having that humility. By really allowing it to sink in the vulnerability of the human existence. The dependence, the complete 100% dependence on the biosphere for about everything we are and have. It's just such a different way of relating to life. And, we need to train ourselves to become supple so we can allow that to slowly but surely sink in, like earthworms who are kind of making the earth porous so that life can flow again. So this, healing can only come if we open up to what's true. And because we are open systems by nature, through eating, drinking, breathing, and everything in constant exchange, we are open systems. But we can, put more emphasis on really staying open. And the practice can help us with that. Trusting the stream of aliveness in our bodies to carry more wisdom than we do intellectually. And trusting, that the earth has the medicine. The earth is the medicine. And as we are, training in trusting that more deeply, lots of fears, confusion, doubts, and sometimes also joy and great inspiration, all of that comes up. So, I'd like to shift now again to a guided meditation so we can, try together to do this. To opening up to the earth as an elder. To accepting the earth as a teacher, the earth as a guru, the earth as the main guru at this time. And just sensing into your body when you hear this, maybe you think, oh, that's really weird. And I know it does sound kind of different, because the gurus before were mostly men on some thrones with different hats or whatever they were wearing. In the Vajrayana, the amazing array of hats they had. And now they all need to go to the back row and allow the earth to speak for herself. That's going to be scary for everybody. Because it's such an intimacy, such a direct, naked acknowledgement of what it is to be a human being, that it really makes us feel, probably shaky, deep inside. There's nobody anymore, no daddy who can protect us. We can all be together in this, but we need to directly, intimately communicate with her. It's the best way, because it's true. And as I've said many times, the name of our species, Homo sapiens, comes from the Latin word sapere, which means to taste. So it speaks of a great intimacy, like a baby who takes everything in the mouth in order to know what it is, need to taste it. It's a very intimate, very direct way of relating with the body, taking it into the mouth with these very soft lips and being fully with it. How can we come back to that? That's the question of our times. How can we come off the screens and all of these layers of concepts and ideas about life and be in direct relationship, like the San, the Bushman, who can hear the stars. So allowing your breath to take you into the body and trusting the nervous system to be able to connect with this aliveness which is flowing through the body. The vibrancy, the pulsing, a humming. And then also sensing the hardness, where the body meets the cushion, the chair. The gravity which gently pulls us towards the earth underneath us, keeping us stable where we are. And the hardness in the bones and the teeth and the nails of the body. This whole body of ours, which consists of bones, flesh and skin, has emerged out of the body of the earth through our mothers. And we have deep roots into the body of the earth. Even, those roots are not visible, but we can sense them. With the out breath, sensing into the threads of connection with the body of the earth. Down, into the soil, but also all around us, into the atmosphere. The threads of aliveness. So with the out breath, becoming more conscious of that deep embeddedness and constant exchange. This is exchange of data, we could say. It is information. We consider it as food or air or water, but it's different forms of communication and information, which doesn't work with words or concepts. It's just this very direct input and output, which we have never really looked at in a context of information. And the way how we are looking determines what we see. So, this threshold, the end of patriarchy, the beginning of a new era, starts with looking in a different way than before. Simply because we have matured, just grown up a little bit, and now we see things differently. And just at the right time, when the planet is no longer capable of supporting the old ways. We have just become too many people. It just can't go on like this. There's a flattening, of hierarchy. We don't need those big men anymore telling us what to do. We just do it ourselves. We relate as a collective. We allow diversity amongst, our own species, and a much more kin-centric form of looking at life. We are kin with every other species on this planet, millions of them. And it's just happening because the time has come. And we all can sense that there's something big underway, something shifting, and that's what's happening. In order to grow up, we need to change the language and the thinking. And, rather than being concerned with what value the earth has to us, we need to find out how we humans can be of value to the earth community. Just like when a child, for the first time entertains, to actually help the parents, to maybe, take out the trash or help with washing up or something like that. And suddenly, wants to do it. Opening up to the earth as an elder. And trusting the stream of aliveness in our bodies to carry more wisdom than we do in our heads. Trusting the earth as an elder. And then, sensing into the heart, sensing into the chest area, what comes up for you if you allow yourself that thought, trusting the earth as an elder. Trusting that she has the medicine, that she is the medicine for our times. Maybe you sense a confusion and a scrambling, or a sense of relief, or whatever it is. Just let it be there. Or maybe both, scrambling and the relief, and the relief and the scrambling. Letting it all drop down. The earth can receive that. The sincerity of attunement. Peeking past our egos, and allowing the scaredness to be there as well. By allowing the thought that the earth knows better than us. Because for centuries now, we have tried to dominate her and pin her down and rip things out of her. always knowing and not always thinking that we know better. And now it's kind of clear, no way, it's not gonna happen. We don't have a right to nature. We are nature. And this learning process is gonna take generations. But it needs to start somewhere. That understanding that we need to adjust, we need to adapt. And need to train our bodies to remember this capacity to sense and be in intimate relationship with the biosphere. And through these trainings and through being together in this removing the filters which are woven, through language and concepts and paradigms, assumptions, projections, all of that stuff. And for that, we have the Buddha's teaching to work with the mind, to become increasingly more open, letting go of ignorance, greed and hatred. As we are responding to the call, we don't have to do it alone. And the healing, comes simply with opening up. And trusting in the earth as medicine. It's the intimacy of intuition which doesn't go through concepts. And starting to use language in a different way. Adjusting the language. And remembering that we all have indigenous ancestors in our lineages. And these dormant capacities we can remember. So sensing into the aliveness. The openness. There's no boundaries. No fixed boundaries. If the mind is at ease, and with the out breath relaxing into the spaciousness which doesn't end at the walls of the room where we are sitting. A limitless space. And we can sense the weight of the body, but there's no boundaries between the body and the limitless space all around the body. That can be a direct experience. If the mind is at ease, if the mind temporarily puts down, lets go of thinking, we have a direct taste of that. And my first teacher called that a little nibbana. When the mind is at ease, the body is experienced. It's non-separate. When the mind is scared and in a protective mode, we feel separate, more and more separate, more and more tense. And for the remainder of the guided meditation, I'd like to share with you today the Thanksgiving Address. Greetings to the natural world, words before all else. And they come to us from the tribal nation of the Haudenosaunee, also called Iroquois, or Six Nations, in upstate New York and Canada. And the Six Nations regard gratitude as essential for survival. And before each council meeting, this Thanksgiving address is shared. And gratitude is considered not just politeness, but as a technology which can sustain life And when we forget that, the world unravels. And that's what's kind of happening at this point. And in America, there's now Thanksgiving, it's a big holiday. And I'd like to share that with you. And it's also available online. And I'm going to write all of that now into the chat before I start, and you can have a look at it later. Thanksgiving Address. Words before all else. The people. Today we have gathered and we see that the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one, as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one. The Earth Mother. We are thankful to our Mother the Earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us as she has from the beginning of time. To our Mother we send greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. The waters. We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms: waterfalls and rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the Spirit of Water. Now our minds are one. The fish. We turn our minds to all the fish life in the water. They were instructed to cleanse and purify the water. They also give themselves to us as food. We are grateful that we can still find pure water. So we turn now to the fish and send our greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. the plants. Now we turn toward the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They sustain many life forms. With our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing plant life for many generations to come. Now, our minds are one. The food plants. With one mind, we turn to honor and thank all the food plants we harvest from the garden. Since the beginning of time, the grains, vegetables, beans, and berries have helped the people survive. Many other living things draw strength from them too. We gather all the food plants together as one and send them a greeting and thanks. Now our minds are one. The medicine herbs. Now we turn to all the medicine herbs of the world. From the beginning, they were instructed to take away sickness. They were always waiting and ready to heal us. We are happy they are still around, those special few who remember how to use these plants for healing. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the medicines and to the keepers of the medicines. Now, our minds are one. The animals. We gather our minds together to send greetings and thanks to all the animal life in the world. They have many things to teach us as people. We see them near our homes and in the deep forests. We are glad they are still here, and we hope that it will always be so. Now, our minds are one. The trees. We now turn our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Some provide us with shelter and shade, others with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many peoples of the world use a tree as a symbol of peace and strength. With one mind, we greet and thank the tree life. Now, our minds are one. The birds. We put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who move and fly about over our heads. Each day they remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle was chosen to be their leader. To all the birds, from the smallest to the largest, we send our joyful greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. The four winds. We are thankful to the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the moving air as they refresh us and purify the air we breathe. They help to bring the change of seasons. From the four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strength. With one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the four winds. Now, our minds are one. The thunderers. Now we turn to the west, where our grandfathers, the thunder beings, live. With lightning and thundering voices, they bring with them the water that renews life. We bring our minds together as one to send greetings and thanks to our grandfathers, the thunderers. Now our minds are one. The sun. We now send greetings and thanks to our eldest brother, the sun. Each day, without fail, he travels the sky from east to west, bringing the light of a new day. He is the source of all the fires of life. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our brother, the sun. Now, our minds are one. Grandmother Moon. We put our minds together and give thanks to our oldest grandmother, the moon, who lights the nighttime sky. She is the leader of women all over the world, and she governs the movement of the ocean tides. By her changing face we measure time, and it is the moon who watches over the arrival of children here on earth. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our grandmother, the moon. Now, our minds are one. The stars. We give thanks to the stars who are spread across the sky like jewelry. We see them in the night, helping the moon to light the darkness and bringing dew to the gardens and growing things. When we travel at night, they guide us home. With our mind gathered together as one, we send greetings and thanks to all the stars. Now, our minds are one. The enlightened teachers. We gather our minds to greet and thank the enlightened teachers who have come to help throughout the ages. When we forget how to live in harmony, they remind us of the way we were instructed to live as people. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to these caring teachers. Now, our minds are one. closing words. We have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we have named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send such greetings and thanks in their own way. And now our minds are one. And sensing into how this way of using language can really help to support the experience or the expansion of perception and the capacity to really connect with the biosphere in a different way. It really depends a lot on the languaging, on the paradigm. It's not rocket science, really. But it requires a deep updating of the current capitalist industrial paradigm. That's not going to be a quick fix, but it can be done. We can come full circle and ground these intellectual accomplishments in the deep embeddedness of our existence within the biosphere. That's the evolutionary assignment. And it's a collective assignment. And we kind of know what to do. Now we need to have the energy and the intention and the will and the humility to do it as a multi-generational work, which needs to start somewhere and sometime. And it's now. So I'm now going to ring the bell.